money this next week or so. So we made this last year, got through without having to borrow any money. We had $14,000 left over. Under reserve fund, we received $62 in interest, brought us up to $94,227. The bond fund, we received $353 in taxes and $1.12 in interest, brought it up to $7,200 for payment of our next bond payment in February. Under resources, or under expenditures, nothing unusual. Matter of fact, this is considered a late, sort of a month that we didn't spend as much as we normally do. Under material and services, I don't think there's anything significant. None of the yellow marks were changed. Under material and services, we only spent $8,700, and that's a low amount. No capital expenditures. We're within budget in all three categories of personal services, material services, and capital outlay.
Any questions for Clyde?
Clyde, I know you've told me before, but would you remind me, when does our bonded debt end?
We have 2 more years, I think.
So in 2011.
I
2011.
think the last payment's in 2012, I believe.
Yeah.
Glad to see that go away.
Yeah.
Is this, we're at 13,686, or we had 1,097 outlay on truck equipment. Was that the repair on the Hangar Queen
123.
included?
123.
That's just 123? Do we know what the damage is on the Hangar Queen yet?
No, we'll pick it up tomorrow.
Move to approve the financial report.
Second.
Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Chief's report?
We have, back in there, where's my, you'll have the agenda, where's mine? Okay. Okay, no, thank you. Don't anticipate any out of office, and you all have the activity report. Yeah. Thanks. We had a pretty good month this month. Remember we had 10 calls last month. This month we have 27. We have 209 calls to date. Last year we had 221 at this time, so we are dropping back in calls. We had a shop fire with Malal. We recalled. We had one in another fire in Malal and Sprague Road we assisted on. Moved up to Malal Main Station. And that's about the biggest ones we had. Nothing stellar. No issues on any of the calls. So we're good to go on that one. Any questions on that?
We're still billing for out-of-district patrons on car crashes?
Yeah, one or two I got to finish the paperwork and bill, especially one up here on the corner. Got to finish the paperwork on that, and one of them is with the smart box.
I think last month we talked about billing on illegal burns.
Yes.
Is there a statute guideline as far as recovery on that?
Oh yeah, yes.
Is it actual costs or what? Or how's it figured?
I will look at the statute and see what it says. I'll research that. Been kind of busy this month to get that done, but we'll get that checked out. OFDDA conference, very good conference, good classes. have to say on that?
Uh,
A lot?
There's been a lot of changes in the ethics laws, legal issues. One of the things that's currently being argued, the legislature turned us down on it. We've been working for several years for a presumption of responsibility for fire service for volunteers should they contract or develop cancer within 5 years of their, like, retirement, or within, what is it, after 3 years of starting service?
I wasn't in that class.
Oh, well, anyway,
Is there fighting against that?
the legislature is fighting against it. They've approved it for career firefighters, and it's just wrong. It should include all.
Well, it should be.
Another thing that is currently in the legislature is a tax credit for volunteers. And if you think about it, the time, the money that volunteers devote to the fire service, if you wanted to take that into dollars, it could get extreme. The legislature was asked for, I think it was like a $2,500 tax credit per year, and that was turned down. So that's still in the works.
They've never been friendly towards.
No,
the volunteer
they're
service.
not, and
We tried for the 20 years I've been involved with this, to get them to let us put the volunteers on the PERS program. At no cost to the state, other than the district would pay into it.
no, they won't.
They wouldn't have it.
They also changed some of the ethics laws and directed that specifically toward volunteers and elected officials of special districts. But they exempted the legislature from it, so. There's a lot of changes coming down the pipe.
Doesn't sound like they have strong lobbyists.
Well, that's just it. They did make some inroads, and they did get some things done, but these are things that I know of, they've been fighting for about 10 years, and the legislature just doesn't want to do it. There are several things. One of the things that they did mention is the, crap, I wrote it down in here too. It's a grant program that nobody's applying for.
When you find that, can you bring it to the chief's attention?
It's called the SAFER grant.
Okay.
It's for money for the hiring and retaining of personnel. However, the negative side of that, in today's economic times, if you get a SAFER grant to hire personnel, SAFER will pay for it for a set schedule. I think it's 3 or 4 years. Once that 3 or 4 years expires, you must hire that person, and you pay them out of your budget.
That's great.
And the update on that is, as of, well, I saw the news article on that just before we went to conference. Nationwide, there were 40 districts that had received that grant and turned it down. 40 departments. These are big departments because it would bankrupt them. When money went away, it would bankrupt them. So they're turning that down.
Thank you for your input.
Oh, and the only other thing is, and I think everybody should be aware of it, the Oregon Fire Honor Guard is a non-funded volunteer organization. When I say non-funded, they are not funded by any fire agency in the state, nor are they funded by the fire marshal's office. All their travel, all their uniforms, all their lodging, all their expenses, they pay for themselves. And they make themselves available to any fire agency in that instance. And a few years ago, we did a one-time donation. I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was like $500.
I thought it was like 200 or so. I remember we did make a donation.
I'm almost sure.
I don't remember. I just remember we did it.
Anyway,
It's probably been 5 years ago.
We have used them in the past.